All right, can I tell you something that's nonsense, Dan, to start the day today?
Yeah.
And this person thinks they're being slick right now, but they're not slick. Jeremy has not said a word to anyone yet this morning.
He's preening, though, like he's walking around like a peacock.
But normally, like he's shot out of a cannon.
Yeah,
when he
can't
walks
shut
in
him
here.
up. Can't shut him up.
And he thinks he's being slick by having not said anything yet.
I would follow you down this if he wasn't on with Samson for an hour bragging.
I'm saving it because I was told I'll be getting the first 83 minutes of the show to myself.
I did think, actually, that it was quiet around here, and I hadn't realized that it's because he was doing the Samson show, nothing personal, because David had to tend to some family matters. So Jeremy was doing a different show where nationally he was annoying that audience, a whole new audience, just doing hyperventilating.
I don't annoy other audiences, just here, because the way you all have positioned me, as if I don't know what I'm talking about.
We've positioned you? You don't think
right.
you've put yourself in that position?
Nope, not at all.
You think that...
I was likable until I got here. I tell you over and over again. Because I'm right about everything.
You were not likable before you got here, pal.
Yes, I was. It's the only reason I have any of the jobs I have is because I was likable. I wasn't a professional. Now I'm a professional.
Hey, let's loosen up the shoulders a little bit. It's a big day for you. You don't need to, you're not backed up against a corner, even though you literally are on this show.
Yep.
Just this is your day. Have fun, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah,
but
this could. You're right. It's
don't
my
be
fault.
defensive.
I came in feeling a little defensive, but I did want this to sort of be a choose-your-own adventure. Either we could all decide together that we can celebrate this really cool moment where one of the pillars in the franchise that we all care about's history set a record for points scored in a game that was actually televised, or I could be an asshole, and I really hope it's the first one.
Are you threatening us?
Well, when you
I'm
come...
just telling you what it's
with
going to
being
be.
an asshole?
You're threatening us?
No, I'm just telling you what it's going to be.
What it's going to be. Wow, Dan. Did you hear that?
Woo, that sounds like a movie poster right there. Are you? That sounds like something Denzel would say in The Equalizer. Are you threatening me? No, I'm just telling you factually
how
what
it's
it's
gonna
going to
be.
be.
You're like,
That's
what?
how it's going to be.
Has anyone ever brought this energy after beating the Wizards?
Happy Jeremy was right day.
There it is. I do enjoy, Zaslow, the idea of him angrily saying, I'm likable. I like the character of defensive guy claiming he's likable in the face of people not liking him.
Jeremy's right day, but like, what was he right about exactly? Because you have to have a prediction. Like, it's not like he's like, you know what, Bam's gonna score 60 tonight. And it's like,
You all have been trading Bam Adebayo for years.
It's a great time to sell
And
high.
I've been telling you, he's a superstar,
Good.
which he is. Actual NBA legend.
Would really
Bam
work in
Adebayo.
the Heat's favor if the trade deadline didn't pass a couple weeks ago.
God,
You
man,
guys are
we missed that.
pathetic.
Basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a three or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man-to-man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and roll. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
Simone Fontecchio with 18 points last night. Jeremy, the entire floor today is yours. Go ahead, celebrate your Bam Adebayo Miami Heat.
Bam Adebayo passes.
The NFL news, it never stops.
Are you kidding me?
Breaking news, according to Ari Merov, the Ravens are signing former Bengals All-Pro defensive end Trey Hendrickson. You swap out one white guy for another white guy. Four-time Pro Bowler, brings his 81 career sacks to Baltimore after they rescinded the Max Crosby trade on Tuesday night, Dad.
That is excellent breathlessness, the only thing to be breathless about today.
A big deal.
Yeah, that is a pass rusher. Those are valuable. Last night, I think people were fairly shocked when the Raiders announced that the Ravens had pulled out of the Crosby deal, which made me feel like this is more than just a failed physical. Doctors have a lot of leeway on whether a team can or wants to do something. I don't know. I mean, of course he's going to fail a physical. He's coming off of knee surgery. Like, his knee's not working, right? And people know that, but I'd like to know more of the details of what happened there, because that was super strange that the Raiders put out the Ravens' business and then said, we'll have no further comment at this time. Like, it was just a real quick press release that made me think, oh, there's more here. We'll be finding out about. Ravens rebound nicely.
4 years, $112 million for Trey Hendrickson.
So this is the path we're choosing.
It's a big deal. I mean, imagine.
How many career sacks did you say?
81.
81?
Yeah, 81.
That was a little rude.
Wow,
He's a great DN.
Two fewer sacks than Bam had points in a basketball game last night.
Yeah, but again, you're taking from a division rival to bolster your own team.
If you want, we could talk about the heart of a champion, which was on full display in Sunrise last night.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Swaggy.
Come on.
Last night was a where were you moment in South Florida sports. Dan, where were you when Sam Bennett got his 200th career assist?
You are pathetic, people.
I was in the press box.
They were down 3-2 with, 40 seconds left?
A minute and change.
But you guys have been telling me for 6 weeks their season is over. Tony hasn't even tuned in.
Where are
yet.
they?
They're at the very bottom
11 back
of the conference.
Nobody wants to answer me. How many games are left in the season? How many points are they back?
Let's take you to last night. Down 3-2 against the Detroit Red Wings, who are better than them. They're chasing this team in the standings. They pull their goalie. Swaggy equalizes, and like he did that fateful night in Boston that started this whole run, Swaggy calls game in regulation 4-3. And Panther fans everywhere Googled NHL standings and found their team's still second bottom in the league.
Is this true? For the first time in, I'd say, about 2 weeks, I took a look at the standings last night. It was humbling.
Conference, not league. Conference.
Yeah, Eastern Conference. Yeah, we're actually having as good a season as the Oilers are. But we're in the...
If the Panthers were in the West, we'd be talking right now about how the Panthers have a chance to three-peat.
Yeah.
And that seems unfair.
What else?
Anything else? Mike was rooting for Italy yesterday after the United States manager didn't realize that the United States had not qualified. This is startling. In terms of boneheaded stuff done by somebody in charge, I don't believe you've seen a whole lot in your life where a guy for the USA goes into a game thinking he's clinched and he's advanced, and then they're down 8-0 against Italy.
Who do they have on their team?
John Birdie and them boys.
It's like, is that Jacob Marcy?
Jorge Posada.
All right, now you're speaking my language.
Jorge Posada on the staff. Yeah, look, I'm part Italian. I root for Italian national team sports, except for when they play the USA. But my relationship with baseball is, not at the greatest place, and that was an incredible underdog story. And the way that the U.S. approached that game, I was kind of rooting against them. And DeRosa, perhaps an undercover agent.
So what do you guys make of this, and how often have you seen what happened with Mark DeRosa, the manager of the United States, where he just doesn't seem to understand going into the game what the stakes of the game are? Go ahead and play that.
You got 9 bodies ready to roll today, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to get some guys off their feet, no question about it. I'd like to get Goldie a start, and he has been awesome, just a leader of men behind the scenes with Aaron Judge. I'd like to get him in there. I'd like to get Gunnar in there again. Ton of respect for Italy. It's weird. We want to win. We want to win this game, even though our tickets punched to the quarterfinals, because Mexico plays Italy actually tomorrow. So the way the schedule lines up, this is an important game for us.
How is that possible? How is somebody in charge not understanding? When I say to you, what does this person need to understand going into the game? What can this person not understand? It's what are the stakes of this game?
The great part is, like, he starts talking, and then, like, halfway through, he realizes, like, oh, wait, maybe this is not – I don't really know what we need to do. So I'm going to get – it's a game we want to win, obviously.
Like, is someone on the other side of the camera?
We need to win. It's actually a tournament. It's a tournament.
I don't know who's on Italy. Please get for me who's on Italy. But, Mike, you found yourself actively rooting for Italy, rooting against the United States.
Yeah, like I said, I tend to root for Italian national teams, but I always root for the USA when they're head-to-head. But as the Italians grew into their lead and social media started putting De Rosa's arrogance out there, I was like, well, you deserve this embarrassment.
Well, it was stupidity, not arrogance, right?
I mean, they're one and the same. The way that he came off there was both arrogant and stupid in retrospect.
America right now? No.
Right. Who believes it?
No.
Can't believe it.
No, we don't. What? How dare you call America and say we're coming off as arrogant and stupid?
I mean, going into an event, not knowing the situations, ramifications, having an exit strategy.
Iran?
Well, I was trying to do that more subtly.
Yeah, I know.
Thank
Well,
you.
when you got to exit strategy, I had my joke lined up before you got to exit strategy, but I'm still mad at you because
Because he doesn't understand anything about Miami Heat basketball?
we'll get to that story in a
Jacob
second.
Birdie's on the team, or John Birdie, one of the two.
Jacob Marcy, John Birdie.
Yeah, they got Jays.
We will get to what it is that Bam Adebayo did in just a second. But my favorite parts of yesterday's show were twofold. One happened on air. One happened after the show off air. My favorite part of yesterday's show is that Stan Van Gundy spent a full hour talking to Jonathan Zaslow, who he's known for 20 years, and he never commented on a burgeoning eyebrow situation that made him, over the course of yesterday's show, look by the end of the show like someone that we were talking about. We need to be careful how much black we put on his face here, because we don't want to
I was
have
in a vulnerable spot.
so much eyebrows here that we cross over into a dangerous place where we go past the Ben Shapiro eyebrows.
Spectacular
So
stuff.
I love that Stan Van Gundy never commented on that, just kept staring at you, and you've just got giant, unreasonably not human eyebrows. But also, what I enjoyed yesterday is Mike raging against a puppet that looks like me. Mike screaming and yelling at a puppet that I've now given to Tony so that Tony can start working with this puppet. We had this professionally made.
This is the first time the puppet's actually been on screen.
They'll have a puppet.
Despite being here for 2 days and us trying to integrate it.
Well, you were mad at all of the logistics, but you took out that rage on the puppet. The puppet does look somewhat like me. It should have been made heavier. The beard is a little grayer than it should be. We've had to paint the hair black because the
Pull
hair
the pants up a little bit?
Needs a belt.
Jesus.
Wait a minute. This has become a pornographic show.
No, it's that I can't get my hand all the way up your.
That's one of the issues with it.
Anyway, we will see what happens with the puppet later.
I don't like that.
What do you mean? What don't you like?
This makes me uncomfortable.
Makes two of us.
The nudity of the puppet, or
Yeah.
just the existence of the puppet
No,
in general?
I like the Leba puppet in general, but it's got its pants down.
It also has 4 fingers on each hand. I don't know why it is that this puppet
Everybody knows
maker-
puppets only have 4 fingers. Everybody knows that.
Puppets and cartoons.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does everyone know that puppets have only 4 fingers on each hand? But we have fooled around long enough. I really do want to talk about what it is that happened last night, because I assume only Miami thinks that that is a good and fun thing. I'm going to assume that today, all over the media, you will get people fervently, passionately, and religiously protecting the honor of the late Kobe Bryant by feeling like Bam Adebayo's name doesn't belong beyond Kobe Bryant in scoring in a game. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, ridiculous though this is, Bam Adebayo scores 83 points in a game. Is that the single best performance by a Miami Heat player in Heat history? Yes or no?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Not remotely close to a GOAT performance.
Not remotely
No.
close.
Are you
No.
people
It-
talking about?
And look,
No, he's right. Let him cook.
Let me say, like, you take in context. This is a proud franchise that has played plenty of important games, that have had incredible performances in marquee games. Off the top of the dome, Jimmy Butler, Game 5 in the bubble, going shot for shot with LeBron James
Butler
to the
game
point of
6
exhaustion.
in 23.
Regular season is what I was talking about. This is the greatest regular season performance in Heat history. Not close. It's the GOAT.
So regular season versus postseason. You guys didn't even mention LeBron Game 6 in Boston is the single
That's the one.
greatest performance in Miami Heat single season, single game history.
Yeah, we were leaving the GOAT to you.
This GOAT conversation is presented by Frank's Red Hot. Make every dish the greatest. Eat the GOAT.
But last night, something happened with Heat basketball that I believe is going to be found offensive by basketball purists, by the nation at large. It is only going to be celebrated here. Let's get some of the criticism that is just rolling in from last night. Here is Rockets coach Ime Udoka.
I don't know if you saw that Bam Adebayo had 83 points tonight. I'm sure you know Bam. What are your thoughts on that and such a historic night?
Yeah, I mean, first thing you think is how, because of, not because of him, but because of the way he plays, and I saw only made 6 threes, but 40 free throws or something like that. Tells the story right there. And the Washington Wizards.
That's such a good side swipe at the end.
I mean, it's true. When I saw it was 43 free throw attempts, I was like, what?
Yeah, which was shocking enough. But then the pause, ellipsis, Washington Wizards.
The crazy part is that they were all legitimate fouls. Like at the end, no.
I mean, sure, yes, okay, sure.
What? What do you
They did
want
touch
from me?
him.
They hacked him. Like,
Yeah.
he took the ball late in the game after playing all those minutes, drove in, and got hacked. Like, the ability to escape with 4 minutes left in the game, they started triple teaming him, and he's getting out of
Jeremy,
that.
he was playing like Marshawn Lynch. He was just grabbing the ball and running through 4 people to try and get something in.
There was that one time that Eric Reed touted his unselfishness. But he passed the ball. Can you believe it?
Wait a minute. No, it's better than that, Mike, because I wrote it down because it was the single funniest thing in the entire broadcast, funnier than even the challenges at the end. No, the funniest thing in the broadcast is what I'm about to read, because this is an exact quote from Eric Reed. Late in the third quarter, Bam, who's being now triple teamed on fadeaway jumpers, okay? Because the Wizards are just like, this is embarrassing enough. We're going to put 4 guys on him. Eric Reed says, and they at this point, because there's no Tyler Hero, because there's no Norman Powell, because there's no Wiggins, okay? They are spending the entire broadcast talking about someone in Bam who they've talked about for 9 years. So they've gone to the reservoir bank of, he's such a good person so many times. Like, he's a good player, but he's even better as a person. Like, they've talked about this human being so much for 9 years. They don't have anything to say, and they can't talk about any of the players. But this is what Eric Reed has said. In fact, I'm going to stop for a second and give you the second funniest thing that he said, because the second funniest thing he said was, another timeout for the helpless Washington Wizards. I have empathy for them. That's something that he actually said. But the thing that he said that was the funniest is, Bam didn't get greedy. He passed it to an open teammate. That's the essence of your captain. It was his second assist in the game. He was already at 70 points and had taken 37 shots. He had taken 37 shots, and there were 70 guys on him. There were Wizards from the past. Rod Strickland ran on the court and was guarding him there.
I saw Calvert Chaney.
So what happened in the end of that game, the last 5 minutes ruined it the way that it's going to be nationally perceived. So let's get to some more sound, because here's J.J. Redick talking about Bam Adebayo and protecting Kobe's legacy.
It's incredible what he was able to do. I walked in and I saw the score. He was at the free throw line, and I saw the score, and they've been playing great basketball lately. And I said to my coaching staff, "Oh, he was rolling." And they all kind of looked at each other. They're like, "Are you kidding right now?" I was like, "No, what's up?" They're like, they're 36 and 28, or whatever they are. They're getting ready to be 37 and 28. And they were, "No, Bam has 77." And I was like, "Huh?" And then I watched the last 3 minutes, and that was a different type of basketball.
Let's go to Robert Ory, also going to protect some of Kobe Bryant's legacy here. There's going to be a lot of this today.
83 from Bam Adebayo.
Oh, my goodness. That's one of those things you have to see. I heard 43 shots, 43 free throws. I'm like, and then I saw some highlights. If y'all noticed when the show came back, I was looking at the highlights of Bam. I'm like, let me just say this. 83 points is impressive. But it gets to a point where you have to respect the game. And I think there was moments in this game where it was not respected, but still, though, 83 points is a lot. I appreciate the effort. And it's going to go down as, second most of the game. But it's like you always say on certain things, just have an asterisk by it. I'm putting an asterisk by this one. But it's still a lot. I'm not taking away from anything, Bam. It's a lot.
I didn't think I'd be saying this today, but put both of these things on the poll. Is 83 points impressive, and is 83 points a lot? Put both of those on the poll. And here is Tim McMahon, an outraged podcaster, giving voice, I'm sure, to what a lot of people will be saying today.
You are he's jacking up threes while being triple teamed. I mean, it honestly was just awful, hideous, disgusting basketball down the stretch that I admit I was cracking up laughing while watching, but I never, ever, 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 ever want to hear about heat culture and professionalism and all that crap again, because that was the most blatant stat chasing I've ever seen. That honestly is the worst stat chasing since Ricky Davis tried to get a rebound on the wrong basket to get a triple-double. But the difference is this was minutes and minutes and minutes and extended game stat chasing. So it was embarrassing for the Lizards, egregious for the Heat. But, hey, you got your 83. I enjoyed the ethical 39 by Wemby more than I enjoyed the egregious 83. But I'm old. I'm grumpy. I admit it.
All right, I mean, take it easy on the 30-plus years of Heat culture and hard work, and the reputation this franchise has all been flushed down the toilet because of a game against the Wizards. Can we slow down for a second?
The Lizards.
Can we slow down for a second? Tim McMahon's really good at what he does, but take it easy, all right? Look, this performance last night by Bam, and you heard a lot of it right there. I think you're going to hear, I think today is going to be rather ugly, the reaction. This performance is not going to be remembered fondly. It's just not. Part of it is...
By Heat fans, it will be.
Heat fans, it will be, and everyone in that building last night had a great time, and that's really important, okay? But this game is not going to be remembered fondly because the final, it was like 5 minutes or whatever, was a lot of bullshit. And I will tell you, the bullshit started with the Wizards, okay? The Wizards were doing the bullshit.
Important note.
They're double. I've never seen it before. They're double and triple teaming Bam full court. Not even like an inbounds play in the front court. Full court, they're double and triple teaming in a game that the Heat are up by 25 points. And so then the Heat's response that is, okay, we're going to do bullshit too, and we're going to foul, and so that we can get the ball back. And then we're going to, and the Wizards and the Heat are both going to challenge plays with under 2.5 minutes left. And Keyshawn Johnson is going to miss a free throw on purpose so that Bam can try and get the offensive rebound. It was a lot of nonsense in the final few minutes that, unfortunately, I think is going to have people speaking about this performance in an extremely negative fashion, as we heard right there, when the reality of it is, for 3.5 quarters, Bam was incredible.
The first quarter was more impressive than the rest of the game to me. That first quarter is the best quarter I've ever seen a Heat player play. Any quarter, any time.
I mean, Tim McMahon comparing this to Ricky Davis trying to get his own rebound is just
It's ridiculous.
Man.
It's ridiculous.
Well, he's saying stat padding, and put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you okay with changing the name of the Washington Wizards to the Washington Lizards because they should have – actually, it should be the Washington Lizards because we should put L's where they have W's. I like that. I thought that was the best part of what Tim McMahon said. But I do want to celebrate some portions of this in a way that is not sarcastic, okay? First of all, I hear so much about load management, and I hear so much about the players in that sport being not what you expect them to be. This guy playing that hard in a way that made his teammates so happy for him that at the end of it, they were all thrilled in basketball, where you guys make all of these guys selfish, so thrilled for this guy because they know specifically how hard he has worked and that his first 6 seasons in the league, he never in any season took as many threes as he took last night because he's improved his game and we've all watched it. Now, you may think that this isn't a superstar. The standard was put in an absurd place by Wade and Shaq and LeBron and Bosh. And so this guy is criminally undervalued in this city because he's not good enough to win a championship by himself. But he is, based on where he's been drafted, the perfect example of Miami Heat culture, perhaps better than any we've ever had, because the Heat didn't develop Alonzo Mourning. They had to go get him from somebody else. This is a player that we saw come into this league super raw, and he's a pillar in this community, like represents this franchise in a wonderful way. But his name doesn't belong between Wilt and Kobe, and people are going to get really mad at how he got there because the previous 70-point performances, and he's also a victim of the distortion of basketball because all of the plus 60 games, a lot of them are in the last 5 years because people can shoot threes. So you've got, Dame going for 70, 14 free throws in a game. Luka going for 73, 16 free throws in a game. The Kobe game of 81, 20 free throws in the game. Embiid got 23 free throws in a 70-point game. But what they did last night that the Heat were enjoying does go against what they usually stand for because they did make a mockery out of basketball with the help of the Washington Wizards, who are not a professional basketball franchise. So careless with the ball in that first half. I was laughing at Tony last night while watching my television.
Wait a second. What are we doing about me? What I said had nothing to do with
You said the
outcome of this
Wizards
game.
were a
The
good
Lizards-
team.
The Lizards are heading in the right direction.
They closed that game to 10 at one point. They were fighting.
Before we go any further, though, let's examine the difference between how Miami is experiencing this and how the country is about to experience it, because I think the greatest indignity here against the respecting of basketball is that somebody who is beloved, who died in a helicopter, had 81 points and was rightfully second on a historic list, that basketball's distortions couldn't compromise. And the way this game was played last night was silly. Nobody goes to the game to watch a record number of free throws from a single player. 43 free throws. He made more free throws in a game than anyone ever has, and he took more free throws in a game than anyone ever has. And it's because they played him the entire second half. And the whole point of what everyone was doing, because they know the Heat are above average and the Wizards are historically bad, cannot win basketball games on the road at all. The Wizards exist basically to be the Washington Generals. Can we look up the record of the Washington Generals all time against the Harlem Globetrotters? Because that's what it felt like last night. You had everything. I expected at one point Bam to take a bucket of confetti and throw it at some kids in the first row, pretending it's a bucket of water because it's the signature Harlem Globetrotters move.
I would have preferred, knowing what we know now, and you knew this was going to be the reaction once the game ended. You knew that there was going to be a lot of venom based on not just passing Kobe Bryant, but also the way it went down, of course, the last few minutes. Knowing what we know now, I would have preferred that he left the game with 5 or 6 minutes left. A game that was not in doubt anymore, and he had 74 points or whatever like that, and we didn't get to the Wizards doing the nonsense and then the Heat responding with their own nonsense. I don't know what the crowd reaction would have been if they took Bam out in the middle of the fourth quarter. He had 74 points. So close, to Kobe Bryant.
You cannot care. You cannot care about what anyone else thinks. It's about the people in that huddle. It's not even about your customers.
Right, like Spo was in a weird spot because, Eric Spoelstra, you should take him out. Like, the game was in doubt. You got to have respect for the game. You have to do whatever Bam Adebayo wants in that spot. If he wants to stay in the game and go for the record, he stays in the game and goes for the record.
I thought it was fun, right? Like, you look around, it's like, this is something that is so out of character for Spo. Hey, foul him so he can get the shots. It's like, what you want to see from your coach is being behind the guy who's having this incredible
Do you think the Heat would have done that? Because you saw Spo was signaling for that. Would the Heat have done that? Would Eric Spoelstra have called for that if the Wizards weren't playing the way that they were playing?
No way.
My guess is no.
It all started, Bam was going to get there. Like, the way he was scoring and the way he was getting
incredible.
to the line naturally, he was going to get to this point, whether the Wizards,
Lizards.
if the Lizards had continued to play with the pace that the game had been going at before the final 4:30
Why
of
couldn't
that
they just
game,
play him straight up like grown men?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Because he owned them.
With
That's
4
why.
minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, they started triple teaming him before he got the ball. And it was so funny because on the broadcast, Eric Reed said something to the effect of like, oh, well, pride is starting to kick in as they don't want him to chase the record.
Pride
And
is starting to
John
kick in. They
Crotty-
have 6 wins on the season.
John Crotty said, oh, my pride probably would have started kicking in somewhere around the middle of the third quarter as he had 60-something points. It was crazy to see. And Eric Reed earlier in the game, not even talking about Bam, referring to the Lizards' defense as non-confrontational, which made Crotty laugh out loud. But the crazy part is Bam probably gets there on his own without all of this because of the way he was getting to the line.
You see,
and instead there's so much silliness that it doesn't make a difference, though. He still sets the record, and nobody is going to remember in the long run how.
Oh, I disagree with that.
No, but you want to know why? Because do you know how Kobe did it?
I do know how he did
He
it.
took 13 of 17 shots for the Lakers in the fourth quarter. He took 7 free throws at the end to get to that record.
But also, do you want to point out that was a game that the Raptors were ahead most of the game, and Kobe's 81 led the Lakers to a comeback.
And then they were up by 18 points.
But that's an important note.
With 5 minutes to go.
But Zaz, you remember
Bam needed to be in that game.
Zaz,
it was a 12-point game. I'm sorry.
You remember the details on the Kobe-Toronto game. Jalen Rose certainly remembers the details. But when we criticize this, as many people will do, Udoka just did it. It happened against the Wizards. Nobody remembers who Wilt did it against. That does not matter.
Well, so we're not sure that it actually happened.
That too. You mentioned John Crotty earlier. That wasn't the funniest thing about the broadcast with John Crotty. It was at one point in the first quarter where Eric Reed was like, and John, tell us what it feels like to be in a zone like this. And he's like, why? How would I know? how would I possibly know? I never had anything like that.
Yeah, the Kobe fan perspective, as you guys are highlighting, that was certainly an interesting prism to view this thing through. Beloved, I would say the one pushback that I would have, and Zaz made some good points, is that was also in Kobe's character. I think this is objectively hilarious that Bam Adebayo, of all people, when the whole thing around this player for his entire career is be more aggressive, decided, you know what, for once, I'm going to eat.
He averages 4.5 free throws a game.
For once, I'm going to be Spam Adebayo, and I'm going to make this happen for myself. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fans in that arena.
They looked like they were having the time of their life.
Yeah, I've been positioned as the Heat hater just because I think that this is another lost season that ends with them not getting out of the first round, and I will be right about that. But I think that, look, the Miami Heat, as Dwayne Wade, the face of this franchise, said, they needed a buzz. This town needed to be woken up. And Bam said that much in the postgame.
So did Spo.
Yeah, and he finally did something to wake this market up. I would say that both nationally and locally, and I'm afraid the ratings bear this out, this is as irrelevant as this basketball team, this proud basketball team has been, maybe ever. And they, God bless them for having that night and deciding, you know what, we're not going to be the culture, no fun team. We're going to have fun for the people in that building. Bam Adebayo, of all people, is going to go for this record.
Well, he's the perfect guy for the team.
And it was really enjoyable.
I have to stop, Mike, and I understand that through your narcissism is where you view everything. This is not the most irrelevant Heat team that there has ever been. That's a ridiculous thing to say. They still have that sold-out streak. The people in that arena did enjoy themselves. But Dwayne Wade does speak to something, and this pissed off the Heat. A lot of members of the Heat thought this was somebody outside, somebody going outside the family to criticize the family. Let's hear this sound from Dwayne Wade.
The city needs to be woken up. It's not alive no more. You know, when we was here, bro, it was buzzing in these streets. We've been here the last couple of days. There ain't nothing buzzing outside.
And nothing at all. I had to go home early.
Bro, I'm leaving too. I thought I was about to stay here. I'm getting out of here. There's no energy here.
Yeah.
And this city deserves and needs a person that can bring that energy here and take it over. No one's here.
He would take
From
it
that
over.
standpoint of that buzz and that energy. When he came, it changed the entire, the culture here shifted. When Brian and them came, so I felt it alive and I felt it buzzing. Then I've been out here the last couple of days. I'm sleepy.
I've been in the house smoking hookah watching
Yeah, I'm
old
sleepy.
clips.
I mean, look who's talking there. What an impossible standard. Like, what are they talking about? There's no awareness of who they are as they say that.
No. Again, doubling down, it is the most irrelevant the franchise has been for an extended period of time. Don't cherry pick one bad year where they came back the very next year. Don't cherry pick bad years in which they had Dwayne Wade, one of the best players in the league, on their team and an asset you knew that you could build around. They're irrelevant. The national games bear this out. The local ratings bear this out. This is the least interesting this team has been for an extended period of time in franchise history. Full point. That is fact.
No, it isn't, Mike.
What? Give me a worse 3-year stretch.
Mike, start in the 80s.
They were an expansion team that people were getting excited about.
Before Pat Riley got here, there's a block of time where they were wildly irrelevant.
I watched a bunch of those games. They had G Money. They had teams that were fighting for playoff spots. They're right in that zone.
You're the local Heat basketball historian. Who's right on this?
Mike.
You think this is the most irrelevant they've been in their franchise's history?
Mike, you need to amend that statement to at the very least, and we can have the discussion, I don't even know if I agree with it then, but at the very least you have to amend the statement to since Pat Riley got here.
Okay, I mean, it's 3 years.
I mean, they're trying to have
remember
Kevin
those
Willis
90s
and Billy
years.
Owens. Come on.
Yeah, and that team made the playoffs and was out in the first round a couple of times, the same fate that this team
I'm not
was.
doing this with you today. You think they're irrelevant. You've stopped watching them, and so everyone has. I get it. It all happens the way.
Hey, why am I being attacked here? Why am I being attacked here? Like, I've barely spoken.
This is not the way.
I want Jeremy to get in here, and you frame everything through the prism of my narcissism. Get out of here. All right, this was a fun night for South Florida.
You get out of here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. A guy calls you out on it and gets sent away. Jeremy, by all means, I
Minor
want
penalty,
you to
2 minutes. Murdering the show with their bare hands and a dismemberment kit in cold blood.
Wow. Bullshit.
This is not the day for your negativity on the Miami Heat.
Wow.
I will say, I do think that the 3-year span that he's talking about maybe isn't exactly right, but I appreciate his support and in the fact that we should just be celebrating this moment together rather than parsing the details of a 3-year span because that a 3-year span. Like the first year he's talking about, they were coming off of a finals appearance, so they obviously were not irrelevant. They were the defending Eastern Conference champions. But this night, last night, happening for Bam Adebayo is special for a combination of reasons because not only is he the only player that Spo would do that for, right? Like he's doing that for his captain because of everything Bam has been, because of everything he's worked himself into. But he passed the 10,000 point threshold with the Heat the game before. And what he talked about is it's not bad for a guy who was drafted to be a defender and a lob threat. Like he has worked himself and like you mentioned,
he was supposed to be Clint Capella.
Yeah. At best, like you were hoping he was Clint Capella. And the fact that he has developed himself into a player with the skill set to be able to reach 83 points. If 83 points was so easy and it could be done in this unethical way, then Steph Curry would have done it, or LeBron would have done it, or Kevin Durant would have done it.
You're right.
I don't care who you're playing.
No.
Kobe Bryant did his 81 points against a team that lost 55 games.
People have been criticizing the Wizards, and throughout basketball history, there have been a lot of bad teams, and no one has put up 83 against any of them except one player ever. But if anyone in the league with their number one option played the way the Heat were playing toward the end of that game, there are many players in that league who could have gotten to 83 points playing that way. And I say that not to discredit at all the first quarter he had, which, as I say, was the most impressive quarter I have ever seen a Heat player have. It's just not the way they played the rest of the game, and certainly not the way they played the second half.
It's also when you talk about the guys that Jeremy was mentioning, Steph Curry, LeBron, KD, all these guys, like they don't need to do that, right? Like their whole thing is like, we have enough. Bam doesn't have that in his arsenal, in his trophy case. He needs an 83-point game like that.
Can we just acknowledge for the second time in NBA history that a duo was combined for over 100 points? Can we give it up for Bam Adebayo and Simone Fontecchio? This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Dan Devine points out that in Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, as the New York Knicks intentionally fouled other Philadelphia Warriors to try to keep the ball away from him, the Warriors responded by intentionally fouling the Knicks to get the ball back so they could funnel it to him.
Ethical hoops.
Nobody cares about the details as history marches on. I think Mike Ryan also forgets the post-LeBron, before Jimmy years of Miami Heat basketball that started the way that he feels about the Miami Heat in general, which was a stretch like this that didn't include finals appearances in it. But the moment has been grabbed, and you can't have right now pure sports moments without argument, not the way that all of this is consumed and discussed. And so Miami Heat fans, especially the ones who were in the building, were thrilled watching that last night. But I believe you're going to get poison right now that has nothing to do with the Miami Heat, nothing to do with Bam Adebayo, and nothing to do with even Kobe Bryant. If you don't like what basketball has become, yesterday will become a symbol for why you don't like it, because the numbers have been distorted, and now Bam Adebayo is in a place among Kobe and Wilt that he shouldn't be, right? Like that's not a place that he belongs historically. That list 1-2 felt right at 100 points, 81 points. But let's bring in Amin Elhassan. What do you think, Amin, is going to be the national reaction to this? What was your reaction to this last night?
Yeah, it's weird, Dan, because in many ways, I wonder if these are different algorithms at play. My algorithm had nothing about this isn't real basketball or basketball stinks now. My algorithm was all about people thinking that Kobe Bryant's legacy was somehow tarnished or disrespected because the Heat seemed to intentionally go after the record, as opposed to some sort of moral way of like, oh, he scored 83 points in a driveway going up hill both ways while snowing barefoot, so I don't know. I really can't tell you what the national kind of reaction is, because everyone's consuming different reactions because of algorithms on social media. As far as my reaction, it was kind of like, oh my God, is this happening? And then I thought when it was like 70 points and it was in the fourth quarter, I thought to myself, well, they're going to pull them. They're not going to go for it. And then I realized they're going for it. I said, holy crap, is he going to get it? And what's Washington going to do to try to stop it? And so I thought it was a great, fun night for basketball. And I think people complaining usually have an ulterior motive.
Was Washington out of line for the way they were playing the final few minutes?
No. I mean, look, I don't know if you guys ran the video of Sam Mitchell, who was the coach of the Toronto Raptors when Kobe dropped 81. He was on the Raptors broadcast last night, and they broke out champagne and started toasting. Right? No, you do whatever it takes. You try everything in your power to stop that guy from doing it. And unfortunately, Washington didn't have a whole lot of power to do that.
They didn't actually break out champagne. Are you making that up? Did they bring champagne out?
Sam Mitchell
did
on
it was
NBA
awesome.
TV.
Where did he get
This is like James Worthy with the cigar.
He had champagne nearby
just in case
to celebrate that somebody that somebody didn't even break the record, that somebody broke the second place finisher for most points allowed by an individual in a game. Former coach of the year, Sam Mitchell, broke out champagne to celebrate that.
Not only that, he definitely pulled the Mercury Morris, but the reverse Mercury Morris, but he also gave some life advice. Yeah, there he is on Raptors broadcast on TSN, toasting right there. But he gave some advice, a life advice to the Wizards coach, like telling him, hey, man, like, it happens and you just got to take it in chin. At the end of the day, you're not playing, so you really are limited in the total number of things you can do.
I mean, do we know for sure that Wilt scored 100? Like, is it possible that Bam has scored the most points ever in an NBA game?
No, my kid actually asked me this yesterday in the car. Said, how do you think it was fake? And I said, no, we had the radio broadcast. My kid said, well, they could have faked that. I said, yes, but they had the radio broadcast for as long as I can remember. This isn't a function of like the last 10 years or so where people are doctoring things left and right. It's documented. Everybody knows what he did in that game. The box score is there, and it's existed for decades. The radio broadcast is there, and it's existed. It's just that nobody was there in terms of cameras, and that's why we are naturally kind of skeptical.
Cody says he was there. He remembers it clearly, even though there is no video proof anywhere of this. Pablo Torre Finds Out did a deep dive on it, has all the facts if you want to check out what is not in any way up for dispute on the history of this. But as you consume, not your algorithm, but you love NBA Twitter, you're enmeshed in the tapestry of everything that is NBA conversation. What are the interesting things that you have either observed yourself or heard others say about this in the instant reaction to the aftermath afterward?
Well, I mean, to me, I wondered a lot of things as I consumed my version of the reaction, which was, again, very Kobe-centric. I wondered, first and foremost, if it's in part because of who it is who did the breaking. If Donovan Mitchell had done this in the same exact fashion, if Luka Doncic had done this in the same exact fashion, if Jalen Brunson had done this in the same exact fashion, I don't know if the uproar would have been quite as loud. I think there is a feeling that, like, Bam Adebayo, who is not, quote-unquote, a bucket, to use their parlance, for him to occupy this space, that feels like some sort of treason or some sort of blasphemy, right? Then, obviously, you know, Bam shot 43 free throws, and again, he's not a guy that shoots a whole lot of free throws a game, so that kind of felt out of balance for a lot of people. But then, obviously, Kobe Bryant, the fact that Kobe held this record and that Kobe's no longer with us, that's people kept bringing that up. It's like, oh, that's disrespectful. The man can't even, as if Kobe could have suited up the next day and try to go, I'll go get 85 just to make sure I still have number 2.
Oh, but that is so real. You cannot win arguments against a dead man. Like the Kobe Bryant's legacy was it mushroom clouded because of the way that he died, and now people protect him really preciously as if there's sainthood involved there. His memory, his legacy, all of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. There was already kind of very zealous, his fandom, before he passed away. I used to make a joke when I was on the Jump that it's a nation, the nation of Kobistan, and these are the Kobistanis, and they're ruled by the Knights of the Triangular Table, and everything is all about that flag. Even him over the Lakers, even. They would rather see him flourish and the Lakers struggle than the other way around. And obviously, when he passed away, I kind of had to retire that bit because, you know, it's a very sad, tragic passing, you know, especially the circumstances with his daughter and the other children that were on that helicopter. And so you got to ease off the gas. But, you know, basketball moves on. And regardless of whether he's alive or not, or how he passed away or not, this record was broken and wasn't nothing Kobe or any of the Kobistanis can do about it. And we're just going to keep living until someone drops 84 or 85 or whatever's next.
One more point on that, though, in terms of the precious sort of rosary bead clutching on that. Kobe Bryant was a religious figure before he died. In terms of how zealous the people are around him. And now, even more so. I mean, like now, the way that this is being reacted to preciously isn't in protection of basketball, I don't believe, as much as it is in protection of his memory.
Dan, I don't know if we have a Suey for best Steve Martin, but that might be it.
I liked it better when I said it.
Good point.
Zaz, what do you have here?
Forgot what I was going to ask him.
Okay. When you look at what it is, I mean, that happened last night, and people use it to celebrate, their dislike of basketball. What do you do with that?
Well, I think these are. Look, I tend to dwell in a place where I don't have to defend something that I don't like to other people, right? I, for example, don't care for cricket. Try to watch it, try to learn it. Too confusing, too boring. What I don't do is spend every waking minute of my life trying to tell people that cricket stinks. Even though cricket is a massively popular sport, by some calculations, the second most popular sport in the world, above basketball by just number of people playing it. But again, I don't care. And so I move on. So I would urge everyone who feels the need to point out the basketball stinks. Like, why do you care so much about something that does not interest you?
That's the part that feels frustrating, right? It's like, do you guys like basketball or do you like complaining about basketball? But it feels like the last couple of years, everybody likes complaining about basketball and not watching the actual sport because everybody says the regular season's dead. I mean, we just had an incredible game last night between the Celtics and between the Spurs. And the night before, SGA has his two-time MVP moment hitting a clutch dagger 3 against Jokic, who's averaging the best numbers of his career, and he's had 3 MVP seasons.
Yeah, no, it's been a tremendous season. I think the only downside is kind of some of the injuries that have happened. We wish these teams were full strength, but like we've had great moments, great games, great performances across the board. And so I don't know, Tony, to be honest with you. I don't know what they want. I don't know if this is again, we live in an age where people are saying things and doing things because it gets attention, because it picks up traction, and maybe that's why. But again, I think we all have things in life, TV shows, movies, books, whatever, sports that we don't like. We don't spend most of our time talking about how much we don't like. I hate Hamilton. It came up. I talked about how much I hated it, and that's it. Like, I don't spend every day talking about how much Hamilton sucks.
Let's play for Amin that Tim McMahon sound from earlier in the show so he can hear what some of even the old heads are saying.
You are he's jacking up threes while being triple teamed. I mean, it honestly was just awful, hideous, disgusting basketball down the stretch that I admit I was cracking up laughing while watching, but I never, ever, 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 ever want to hear about heat culture and professionalism and all that crap again, because that was the most blatant stat chasing I've ever seen. That honestly is the worst stat chasing since Ricky Davis tried to get a rebound on the wrong basket to get a triple-double. But the difference is this was minutes and minutes and minutes and extended game stat chasing. So it was embarrassing for the Lizards, egregious for the Heat. But, hey, you got your 83. I enjoyed the ethical 39 by Wemby more than I enjoyed the egregious 83. But I'm old. I'm grumpy. I admit it.
Amin?
I didn't know that the Lizards played last night. That's incredible. The Heat played the Wizards and the Lizards.
It's
Tremendous.
his thing. It's his thing. He replaces the W with an L.
Sure. Okay. I don't look, man. He said he was offended by someone shooting over triple teams. Oh, I wonder, was there a player in NBA history who routinely shot over double and triple teams despite having open teammates because maybe he was trying to get bucked? I can't think of any. Definitely not one that wore 24 or 8 in their career.
Or 7.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, we are basically arbitrarily saying things. Look, if there's someone that you want to blame, someone you want to be angry at, it's the Washington Wizards, right? They're the ones who could not come up with a game plan to stop Bam Adebayo, who, again, I must reiterate, not Donovan Mitchell.
You asked him to be aggressive. He was finally aggressive. You say his name is Idris until he's more aggressive. You will not call him Bam. He was aggressive.
He was aggressive last night. Absolutely. He did. Look, is 83 points, 73 points, 63 points, even 53 points ever achievable for him again? We'll see, but I would bet no. But again, he has a capacity to be a bigger offensive player than he has shown thus far. I truly believe that. And for Tim McMahon, talking about professionalism and class, again, it's a game. They tip the ball. There are whistles, there are refs, there's scorekeepers. You play. Again, you want to talk about professionalism? What happened to the Wizards? Why are they so incapable of stopping a player who's not known to be offensively great? All right, everyone talks about, people mailing it in. The Heat didn't mail it in. Clearly, they whooped that ass, and their best player got 83 points. So, again, I would say if you have a problem with it, maybe you need to go back to YMCA basketball where they have mercy rules and things like that. Maybe that's a more comfortable place for you and your pure ethical basketball.
I take offense to that. Like the idea that everything the Miami Heat as a franchise are about now means nothing as a result of what happened last. Like that offends me. I don't understand how
it's
short-sighted.
It's short-sighted. It's emotional. It's reactionary. And he said himself at the end of it, "And I'm an old person."
Yeah, it
Zaz,
should
what do
have.
you have here.
Forgot
It
what
should
I was gonna
offend.
Okay.
Zaz, it should offend you on two levels. Level one, the fact that one night could invalidate decades of a way of doing things that we know for a fact. Dozens of teams across the league do not do things to that level of efficiency or class or discipline, right? So that's one level it should offend. The other level it should offend you is that was somehow unclassy or unprofessional. What did they do? They played basketball. They won the game. They did it with however means they did it. If you have a problem, again, we always say this, we'll go all the way back to when Cleveland had LeBron the first time around. And remember when they used to be up big at home games, they would play Rick Astley, and then Danny Green would be, all Danny Green was known for was dancing at the end of a blowout because he never played. Right? Obviously, he went on to have a great career, but at that point in his career, he was just known as the dancing fool when Rick Astley comes on because they whooped ass. And I remember there were teams and scouts and coaches like, oh, I hate them. I can't believe it's so unclassy. And my response back then is the same as it is now. If you don't like it, then go out there and stop them from doing it.
Last night, it's worth noting that the Heat were without Khalil Ware, the other center on their team. There's no Jovic, so they didn't have anybody else to fill those minutes other than Kashad Johnson. They didn't have Hero or Powell or Wiggins, all of their other scorers. So they needed Bam to come out aggressive, which is what happened in that first quarter with the 31 points. And then late in the game, it ends up being a 12-point game in the fourth quarter, so they needed to keep him out there. But then late in the game, all the BS starts happening. But, I mean, can we, move to the space where we just talk about how impressive it is to get 83 points in a game regardless of what's happening? Because I think we framed this all around other people's negativity. Bam Adebayo had 83 points in a game yesterday, a guy who came into this league to be a defender and a lob threat.
Right. You said came in this league. We're talking about up until 2 nights ago. We're still talking about, hey, man, you got to be more than just a defender and a lob threat. So it's definitely a remarkable achievement. Again, you talk about someone who went out there and put up 43 field goal attempts. People think that's if you gave me 43, I guarantee you there's a zillion NBA players out there that if you gave them 43 attempts, they wouldn't even get there because A, it's hard to put up 43 legitimate attempts, and B, it is exhausting to put up 43 legitimate attempts. So what he did out there was a testament to stamina. It was a testament to his skill level. And again, I don't see anything untoward about it. How many players in NBA history have scored 80 points? Him, Kobe, and Wilt. And so, if this thing is so easy, or if it's so easily manipulated, why aren't there more 80-point games? It's a real question, especially in this era where defenses are worse or on the bottom end than they've ever been.
I mean, he took 86 shots last night between free throws and between field goals. 86 shots. Is that the most in NBA history? Because I'm trying to do the research on it. I don't think anybody else has taken 86 combined shots in history.
Yeah. I mean, I off the top of my head, I would say it's either him or Wilt, just off the rip. But 86 shots, man, that's a lot. And again, people say, oh, but Kobe only shot 20 free throws or whatever it was. And I said, well, sounds like Kobe didn't make it as hard on the Raptors as Bam Adebayo did on the Wizards.
I actually thought, as someone who has said a lot, that the people watching basketball, even the ardent followers, don't generally have a real appreciation for how difficult it would be for any of us to advance the ball, even to half court, if the Wizards even were saying you will not advance the ball to half court. If any group of 5 of us tried to get the ball over half court and Alex Sarr is out there, and we would not be able to get the ball over half court. The athleticism involved in just getting an inbounds when there are 3 NBA players trying to prevent you from doing that, all of that is going to get lost in the wash in today's discussion. What you're talking about, the difficulty of actually getting open, even if it's just the Wizards preventing you with 3 guys from trying to get open.
Yeah, Dan, you took it the step that I never like to take it, which is like it'd be hard for any of us, right? Of course it's hard for any of us. That's why we're not in the NBA. I always compare NBA players to other NBA players. It's like, again, it's hard for a lot of NBA players to bring the ball up against that kind of pressure. It's hard for a lot of NBA players to get open under that kind of intensity and scrutiny. That's not a human kind of predicament. That is an NBA player predicament. And so again, I say unto thee, if Bam somehow used a cheat code like we're playing Legend of Zelda or something like that, then why hasn't anyone else employed it? Why isn't anyone else doing it? And the reality is there are no cheat codes. There's a ball, there's a whistle, there are lines, there's scorekeepers, there are referees. And then your job is to try to get as many points as you can, and they're trying to stop you. And under those conditions, he did it better than anyone else other than Wilt. The other thing I'll say, and this is important, you know what this uproar is really about? Maybe it's not about Kobe. Maybe it's not about Bam's place in history. Maybe it's not about basketball today, ethical versus non-ethical, or any of those things. Maybe it's just about people who use singular numbers to worship everything. This is 6 rings is why Michael is better. 81 points, that's why Kobe Bryant is better. And when someone who is not of the chosen class, so to speak, ends up with one of these numbers, we have to find an answer. We have to find an explanation that's not, maybe he's better than Kobe. Of course he's not better than Kobe. We all know that. Bam knows that. He even said it in his post-game press conference. But the reality is, if you live your life with a number being the reason why someone is, this is why Kobe's better than LeBron. Why? Because he had 81. Right? Okay, now Bam walks in with 83, and you're like, all of a sudden that argument doesn't work anymore. So either you stick to your argument, in which case Bam's better, or you accept that maybe, just maybe, a number isn't the thing that makes a player better than another.
Put it on the poll, please. Should your basketball analyst ever say, quote, I say unto thee, while doing his basketball analysis? And to Amin's point, okay, we can discuss this ad nauseum. There are very few numbers in basketball, very few that matter, and Bam now has one that matters forever. Like, go ahead and name all the numbers you guys think matter, because LeBron's about to set the record for whatever it is, most field goals ever. Nobody cares.
He did.
Give me, okay, yeah. So give me all the numbers, Give me all the numbers that you, as a basketball sacred person, find sacrosanct.
There's one number that is sacrosanct. I put it on everything that will never, ever, 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 ever be broken. Wilt Chamberlain, for a season, averaged 48 and a half minutes a game. Ladies and gentlemen, there are only 48 minutes in an NBA game.
Okay,
that's awesome.
That's a parlor.
He loves that one.
That's
his
a
favorite
parlor
one.
trick.
It's a great one.
It's a parlor trick. It's nonsense.
It's awesome.
I got another one. I got another one for you. So we know that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on the cusp of breaking Wilt's record of consecutive 20-point games, right? Shai's actually missed 13 games in that span. So it's not truly consecutive, but we'll forget about that. But Wilt, in his span, missed 23 minutes over the entirety of the span.
You dorked out to numbers that I don't think the average sports fan would say, and that's the question I was asking you. What are the numbers that matter in that sport? What are the numbers that can be? Baseball's the sport that has the numbers that matter. None of the other sports do that as well as baseball does it. I don't know how many basketball has, but I associate 81 with Kobe, and now 83 goes to Bam. Like that, there aren't many.
You got a Wilt 100-point game. You've got Michael Jordan's 63-point in the playoffs. I think that might be the one that people have a chance of actually achieving, because 63 seems really low considering all the great scoring efforts we've had in NBA history. So I think Michael Jordan's 63. And, man, I don't know. We don't talk about this enough. Jokic leading the league in assists and rebounds currently, and he's top 5 in scoring. And he's shooting 58% from the field and 40% from three. That might be one right there. And then Steph Curry, unanimous MVP, is another one.
Con Knipple coming up, too, after that.
I've been trying to get off the ground the take, and I've done it sort of tepidly, that Jokic is a better offensive player than Michael Jordan. I've been trying.
It's a good take, Dan.
I think it's
gotta lean in.
I know, but it's not. It's not ridiculous. It's not a ridiculous thing to say. It's not.
You got to lean in, Dan. You see, that's why it's not taking off, because you're scared. You're doing it halfway. You got to go all the way. You got to take a page out of your boy Nick Wright's book and just be the first on that island and start yelling it loud. And by the time people start coming around, you look like a genius.
See you later, Amin. Thank you for making the time. I have a couple.
Also, real quick. the Miami Heat's worst stretch was probably pre-Pat Riley, but beyond that, it was also post Allen Houston putting that dagger in him. So get a grip, Mike.
Get out of here.
Thank you, Amin. Appreciate the time. A couple of things that I want to clean up, okay? Because I did like Zaz's stat of Bam Adebayo and Simone Fontecchio combined for more than 100 points. It reminds me of the fact that Tommy Aaron and Hank Aaron are the best home run duo in the history of baseball. The Ricky Davis point that Tim McMahon brought up, for those of you who do not know, Ricky Davis, in trying to get a triple-double, shot at his own basket to try and get the rebound, thinking that he would get the rebound credit on a shot he had taken on his own basket.
Wouldn't you have assumed that too?
I don't think last night was that. I would have also assumed that. I would have thought that it would be a rebound even if you shot at your own basket. A reasonable assumption, I thought, from Ricky Davis statistically.
Yeah.
I don't know why he said, I say unto thee.
You know, he's good for a dramatic flair every once in a while. He says he hates Hamilton, but, it could be musical.
Yeah, he's just trying to be official. He's just trying to make sure that we understand what he's saying is a proclamation, not just a statement.
Can I ask you, when Bam hit 2 free throws to get to 81, and then there was a stoppage in play, I thought that Spo was going to take him out right there.
So did Eric Reed, by the way, because
the
he said
broadcast
as much.
did too. I thought they were going to take him out there, and to me, and I was thinking to myself, oh, this is so cool.
They would have honored him.
This is so cool.
If they had in that moment just stopped at Kobe to honor him, a lot fewer people would be mad about it today.
Yeah. What do you think the reaction nationally would be? Because I thought this is going to be an amazing moment.
Yeah, I get nationally it would have been applauded, and it probably would have played more into Bam's character, but do it for the Heat fans. Do it for the people in that building. Do it for Bam, who's always been selfless.
Would you have thought less of as a Heat fan? Would you have thought less of what he did last night?
I think it's so cool and funny that Bam now has 83 points. I couldn't have pictured like an NBA superstar that is less likely to do this when you consider, and Ime Udoka spoke to it. And I think Amin, to button up his point, the affront to basketball last night was a team that has tried all season to lose basketball games. And so I stopped feeling bad for the Wizards. I never felt bad for them. But, yeah, the game kind of became a circus. And I kept thinking, man, this is a little bit of a circus. This is a bad look. It's not a bad look for the Miami Heat. Miami Heat are trying to win that basketball game, and the game's well in hand. Get their star an incredible achievement. The affront to the sport is the team that is actively trying to lose every game when they step on the court. So good on them. They got what they deserve.
And when you're the Lizards and you're with 4.5 minutes left, now doing the thing where you're triple teaming the player, he already has 70-plus points in the game. Like that's where you are. He was well on his way. If he had continued to get the ball in isolation and drive to the hoop, those fouls would have been the same thing. It's only because of the farcical challenges and everything that came with it, which was actually so entertaining and so fun. But I was like, the 30 points in the first quarter, the 31 points is obviously the most impressive part of the game. But I will say, at the end, when I'm watching Bam, who should be gassed, triple teamed off the ball and finding a way through his will and athleticism just to break away from these guys, to be able to get the ball, to be in position to get fouled again. I was so impressed by that. Like, that's a testament to the player that Bam is his ability to just never run out of stamina.
To the point of taking him out at 81, I think the ends would have justified the means if everybody was looking at Spo, intentional foul, do this, do that, miss the free throw to try to get him to 81 to then take him out. It would have been national applause, but everybody could have pointed and been like, oh, that's why you guys were doing it, because you wanted to honor Kobe at 81.
But why is Kobe sacrosanct? Someone else is going to come along.
Because he is, though.
The way that the league works, by the way, when someone goes for these scoring marks is you're going to see a bunch of superstars try to score as many points here in the next couple of weeks. It's very likely someone guns for Bam's high water mark. I don't understand that. I guess I do understand the allegiance to Kobe because of the stand-up that surrounds him. But it's only a matter of time when you consider where the sport's gone that even someone comes for Wilt.
It's been 20 years, though, that this record has stood, and nobody's gotten close.
That's
right?
why this is so impressive, though,
something.
Tony.
But you need to have that extra gamesmanship of intentional foul here, 42 free throws there, to be able to get to that number, because it's just unattainable.
But he was going, like, he asserted himself to get to the line a bunch throughout that game. If you look, like,
By the
all
way, hold
of
on,
those,
really quick. I think the referee should have swallowed the whistle a couple of times, by the way.
If you go
everybody
back
wants to
and
go home
watch,
there.
everybody wants to go home, but when that's happening, like, you got to call the game the right way, and he was getting hacked all of those possessions. And so when you look at it, like, you're looking for a player to break a record, and as you said, it's been standing for 20 years for a reason. And the irony in all of this is, like, there's nobody who was a bigger celebrator of the game in his post-career than Kobe Bryant. And I'm of the belief that Kobe would have been out there celebrating in the media. Oh my God, what a moment. He would have been pissed that somebody broke his record, but it's not like he would have been saying, like, oh, unethical hoops.
No,
and
Kobe would have been
complaining.
impressed by 83
He would have
points
been
and 3
impressed by it.
assists.
It
Yes.
would- that's so Kobe. No, it's crazy.
83
it's so
points
Kobe.
and
but
no-
that assist
no
to Drew
double-double.
Smith, Dan. That assist to Drew Smith, unselfish.
My wife got mad at me at one point during the game last night. In the first quarter, so I'm watching the game with my son. We're in the Zaslow Mansion family room, and I'm just relaxed. You know, I switched the Heat game to the big TV. Usually I have the Panthers on the big TV. I switched the Heat to the big TV because Bam has 22 points, and it's still the first quarter. I'm like, I'm going to put this on. And so now we're watching the Heat there. And my wife called me on the phone. She was at dinner. She called me on the phone. She's like on her way home. She needed help with something. I don't know what I figured out. She called me, okay, and we're talking for like a minute, minute and a half, and then all of a sudden I got really quiet, and she's like, are you still there? I go, because at this point, Bam had like 30 in the first quarter and has all my attention now. She's like, are you still there? I go, yeah, something's happening. I got to go. And I hung up the phone on her, and that was it. And she came home. She's mad at me.
I don't know how it is that you have the confidence to swagger after this happened earlier in the show. Zaz, what do you have here?
Forgot what I was going to ask him.
Okay.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
Such a late call.
Yeah, it's a delayed penalty.
Was Max Strus had his foot on the line? We took a three-point basket away 20 minutes later?
It is a delayed penalty. Greg Cody is working harder on vacation than he does when he's in town. He decided again, with crazy hair, I'm sure, to react to live news while on vacation. Here's Greg Cody's thoughts that nobody asked for on Bam Adebayo.
Okay, so I'm on vacation in the Caribbean, and all kind of stuff keeps happening in South Florida sports. Stop it. I'm on a beach in Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and I find out that the canned tuna, and signed Malik Willis, the Dolphins have. And now we're docking in Barbados, rum capital of the world. We'll be doing some rum later today on a beautiful rum tour. There's a rival cruise ship in the background. Anyway, now we're pulling into Barbados, and all anybody's talking about is Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. Somebody told me Bam scored 83. I'm like, in a week, in 3 or 4 games, that's pretty good. 83 points in one game. Hey.
You're probably going to see the pal.
Oh, okay.
Probably going to see.
Oh, okay.
All right, no, so I.
No, that's okay. Those are our friends from the suite next door. What was I saying? Oh yeah. After 3-4 games. South Florida sports, quit doing things that are newsworthy while I'm on vacation. Have a little respect. Bam Adebayo, of all people, scored 83 points. More than Michael Jordan ever did. More than LeBron James. It's just insane. Anyway, I'll be drinking some rum today while things keep happening in South Florida sports.
Put it on the poll. Is everybody in Barbados talking about Bam Adebayo's 83 points? I want to also put on the poll, more impressive, Bam's 83 or Simone Fontecchio's 18 points? And I also want to entertain Zaslow's hypothetical a little bit more. Do you believe that if they'd stopped at 81 and Eric Spoelstra takes Bam out of the game because he and Bam have both decided to honor Kobe Bryant, that the reaction instead today of Miami defending its little excellent historic moment against the country's criticism, it would have become instead the reverse of the country would have been applauding and Miami would have been like, you can't take him out of the game there, Spo. You got to let him break the record. Why would you not let him break the record? Is that what if you entertain Zaz's hypothetical, is it because people are being precious specifically about the name Kobe Bryant, who's no longer with us?
Yeah, I guess ask yourself, what would Kobe do? No way Kobe's coming out of that game. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if it's a legend that passed away tragically and this is a posthumous record that is revered. He'd go for it.
This is a funny one to me, though, because Last Dance taught us, and so did Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame speech, if you win, you can be the asshole, and we'll celebrate the being of an asshole. This person who did this last night is the opposite of an asshole.
100%.
This is a person that when they're saying on the broadcast for the 50th time, he's such a good person, everyone in Miami thinks this is a model superstar, but he doesn't have that asshole in him, and it's a criticism of him.
Yeah, the whole thing is that he's not aggressive, and he has 83 points. First Take just put up a graphic of all the people, the highest-scoring games in NBA history, and there are about 5 of them that have happened in the last 8 years that you do not remember.
I named them. It's Dame, it's Luka, it's Joel Embiid at 70.
Yeah, those numbers don't matter. What matters is Kobe's number. And that's why you keep him in, because that's historic. Otherwise, you're Damian Lillard 71. That you're like Googling, did that really happen?
One of my favorite moments was after Bam hugged his girlfriend Asia Wilson and his mom and was in tears. He goes to the podium with Asia Wilson, and everyone realizes that the 2 people that are sitting there are the active leaders in the most points scored in an NBA game and in a WNBA game.
I don't know what their relationship status is, but whatever child is birthed there has a pretty good chance at being athletically gifted, an Olympic baby.
They're together.
Coming up today on the Alley Oop, my boy has returned, and I was wrong.
And I was right.
Yes, she was right.
Also, what the hell is wrong with the New York Knicks? What have we seen here? They're Jekyll and Hyde, Juju. And also, what is Draymond talking about? Does he think he's the steak? Sir, you're not the steak. Stay right in, right after DLS. Go to the Alley Oops page. DLS Hoops. Lock in.
And stay right in.
Stay right in.
Gets drunk, and Roy has to finish his hockey segment.
Mike Ryan has landed in Vegas. God knows what time it is right there. God knows if he slept at all and what kind of intoxicants he's on. But let's just play sound from Mike Ryan. He's not chasing the Jokic brothers in Denver. That's a mean. But let's play the sound before we introduce Mike Ryan and his nice hat.
I'm actually hearing, we're about to play this sound here. I'm actually hearing Mike Ryan is hopping in the Zoom. But let's play this video first to set it up.
All right, is the video ready? Because a lot is happening around here this week. It's crazy. This is a careening clown car that is going to pinball all over the place, and I'm very scared we're going to get in trouble this week because it's hard to keep the lights on, and we shouldn't do any of this stuff live. Let's go ahead and go to Mike's initial report. Was it from the Vegas airport? Was it around slot machines? Where was he? Let's listen in.
Howdy, folks. Just here in fabulous Las Vegas. Have a great time. Just landed. And it's going to create a lot of special content for all you guys out there. It's Sunday Fun Day.
So the Heat are officially agitated by some of what's already happening on a fun night for Miami nationally. I have just gotten a text here. Hey, Kobe took the last 24 shots and wasn't criticized at the time. Don't know what would have happened if the Lizards, it says Lizards here, played basketball instead of mucking it up with 5 smalls, but their bigs couldn't guard Bam anyway. Bam probably earned more free throws based on how often he was fouled than he got in that game. And then I also got the tweet sent to me from Ethan Skolnick, who is speaking on behalf of the Heat fan base.
What do you say?
There is no written...
It's my gimmick. Damn it.
There is no written rule. He's faster than you are, Tony. You're not.
He's
as quick
closer
as
to
he
you.
is.
I have to press the button or whatever.
It's not because he's closer to me. It's
He's
because
closer.
it's his gimmick, and he's better. He's faster at it because he's sharpened it over the years. Ethan Skolnick.
Hold on a
writes,
second. I'd like you to make the case how me being closer to him means that I say it
Because
faster.
you don't have to put your finger on the button. I'm literally further away. It takes more time for it to reach my ears than it does your ears. That's science, buddy. Oh, no way. No way.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for a shit contribution.
No way. It's geographic.
Take the
Dan.
puppet with you. Take the puppet with you. Ethan Skolnick writes.
And leave it there.
Mike's rage at the puppet has overtaken the entire environment. There is no written rule in sports about who is worthy of breaking a record. Every player for the past 20 years has stepped on a court with a chance to score more than 81 points. One did in a win, someone who's better at defense. If you can't celebrate that, stop watching. There is some hatred of basketball that is polluting some of the coverage in a way that bothers me as someone who really loves basketball and doesn't mind it evolving into a different sport than it has been. But my rage is reserved for the man who presently joins us right now. Ron McGill has been making a farewell retirement tour on every media outlet known to man except the one that cares about him most, this one right here. The people who support Ron McGill's endowment, and I don't mean to turn a syrupy, wonderful, nice thing into something that is filled with hot acid, but I am rabid with rage that Ron McGill has taken weeks and now is going to come on here and give us the same sound bites he's given everyone else about his emotional leaving in retirement of the zoo. Ron, instead of celebrating, you explain yourself.
I just can't believe what I just heard. No, I'm serious. I can't believe what I just heard. I was out of town. I announced my retirement 3 weeks ago. I immediately went out of town with my wife. I was unavailable. I had an emergency procedure come up at the zoo where I couldn't go on the last week, and we rescheduled for this week. But if you look in my retirement video, which, first of all, I was not prepared for the reaction to this. I was thinking I was just making an announcement on my social media platform for my friends to know what was going on, and that was it. I did not expect the overwhelming response that came of it. And if you notice in that recording that I made, I think there is a picture of you there, Dan. I think there's a picture of you there where I'm specifically talking about people in the media who helped create the career.
Oh, that means nothing. You have 400 people behind you in the media. Like, look at all those pictures behind you. That shrine to the media that has helped you make you the legend that you are today. It doesn't mean anything to be one of your media friends. You have 7,000. You're a media friend prostitute.
In that video, these people are not on that video. You're on that video. That's what a lot of people saw. A lot of people don't see, they're not in my office. And I don't have a picture of you because I've asked for it many, many times, but you're just too good to send it.
I don't have headshots. I'm not going to. It's not
I
going
don't
to.
have headshots.
It doesn't need to be a
Just
headshot.
shut up. I don't have headshots. All these headshots, these are not all headshots. There's some nice casual shots of just people that are I thought were my friends.
Look behind you. They're all headshots. They're all glamour shots behind you of an assortment of media people.
Well, there's a lot of headshots there. I agree, but there's also some non-headshots. It doesn't have to be exclusively a headshot, Dan. Okay?
I am thrilled for you. I've known for a while that this has been in the works. I play on the front end with our most beloved figure here because you have been making the rounds and you have been tapping into some emotions, as you've said, that surprised you. I'm surprised, though, that after all these years, you're surprised that people care about you. You care about the animals in an uncommon way, and you're going to be missed because you can't be replaced.
Well, no, that's not true. First of all, I'm retiring from Miami-Dade County. I'm not leaving the zoo because the Zoo Miami Foundation has created this fantastic position for me that's going to enable me to do all the things that I love to do. I'm going to run the travel program. I'm going to do the speaking engagements. I'm going to work as an expert for the media without the bureaucracy and a lot of red tape that's normally associated with county government.
And what has surprised you about the reaction?
Just the extent of it. I mean, I came in the next morning, I made that announcement that evening. And then the next morning I come to the zoo. I get to the zoo at 6 a.m. every day. And I'm driving in and there's 3 live news trucks in front of the zoo. And I'm panicking. I'm thinking, oh my God, something got out, something died, somebody got hurt. What happened? And I drive up to one of the photogs and I go, what are you guys here for? And he just looked at me without hesitation. He goes, for you, dummy. And I went, what? That didn't register to me. It really didn't register to me. All I can conclude is that it was a very, very, very slow news day.
No, why do you do this? Can you guys help me with this? His self-deprecation is charming,
but self-deprecating.
But come on, Ron, you're an icon in South Florida. When you retire,
I'm a fossil.
No,
I'm a fossil.
Well, you're that too.
We've been around for 46 years.
You're an iconic fossil. That's fine.
Okay, I've been along for a long time. But if I have one more person come up to me and tell me how I went to their kindergarten class and they want to introduce me to their kids, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that because, there's that old saying that says, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? I'm in my mid-30s. I mean, but then I have these, these adults with their own kids coming to them and telling their kids, oh, he went to my class when I was in kindergarten. And I'm like, that's hard for me to register. I don't understand that.
Ron, we are a transient community. We don't have very many South Florida icons, and you are somebody who reaches across multiple generations as someone who's associated not just with the zoo, but caring and decent to both animals and humans. There aren't a lot of people like that in South Florida, publicly or privately. And so I insist that you take this praise and this applause because people will miss you because you cannot be replaced. There's never been anything like you in the history of this city, and there will never again be anything like you in the history of this city.
You're very kind, Dan. I really appreciate those words. I just don't, like I said, I carry a chip on my shoulder for a long time because I get a lot of undeserved credit. I tell people I'm a storyteller. The story are the people you don't see. I know because I used to be one of those people. The irony of life is that I'm here now. I have a nice office. I get a very nice paycheck. And I work less hard than I did when I was out there with a wheelbarrow and a rake in the rain, picking up crap and dumping it in dumpsters and not getting any kind of recognition for anything when I was, in fact, doing the work that was making people like me in the office get all the credit that they don't deserve. And that's kind of a juxtaposition that bothers me. So it's a hard time for me to accept this praise when really I'm just a storyteller now. Now, I really appreciate that. I really profoundly appreciate the love. People come up to me and they want to take a picture and stuff. And people ask me, does it bother you when people do that? Let me ask you something. Would it bother anybody to have someone come up to you and say, can I take a picture with you? That's like the greatest compliment you could have, that people even know who you are. So that for me, it's just hard for me to take because I come from a very kind of humble family where my dad always made me realize, listen, you're not such a hot thing. Okay. He said, you're very smart, but you're no better than anybody else. And I was raised that way.
He was half right. You're not that smart. So let's play some videos here for Ron McGill that we have. We have first, and perhaps you can explain this. A snake is eating itself, and it ends up it regurgitates when something when hand sanitizer is put on it. So can you explain to me why it is that the snake arrives at eating itself and what happens here that the hand sanitizer makes it uncoil?
That's a king snake, and king snakes regularly feed on other snakes. Now, snakes are not necessarily the brightest bulb in the chandelier. It may have had a feeding reaction and caught its own tail by mistake and just instinctively started swallowing its own tail. It also could have been purposely fed its own tail by the person trying to make the video who wants clicks from people like you who are going to put it on the air so it gets more of the hits that it wants. So I take all of this stuff with a grain of salt now. Having said that, king snakes are snake eaters. They feed on other snakes, and it's not incomprehensible that it would mistakenly see its tail and bite its tail and start feeding on the tail.
But would it die that way? Would it keep
No,
going?
it wouldn't die. It wouldn't die. It wouldn't die. It would eventually regurgitate that when it realized I can't eat this. It would eventually regurgitate.
Let's play another video here for Ron. And you guys, please do some play-by-play on this, Ron. This is not, you have told us before that the sea is not an area of expertise for you. But regardless, do some play-by-play here that you, if you can. Okay, I'll give it my best shot. It's a type of anemone. It's kind of dancing through the ocean there looking for another host to latch itself onto, because these anemones need to find a coral, some type of foundation to latch itself onto, and that's what it's doing right now. That's its way of swimming, to find another location that it will eventually latch onto and then grow onto that coral and be homes for things like clownfish and other animals that use anemones as kind of a base for their home, because anemones are toxic. They have a toxin in them, and some fish, like the clownfish, are immune to those toxins. So the clownfish go in there and they're protected by the anemone, so they're not eaten by other fish that are not immune to those toxins and are afraid of the anemone. Can you explain to people what an anemone is? An anemone is a type of invertebrate that lives in the ocean that, I don't know how to explain it. It's a living thing that's in the ocean that feeds on fish, feeds on different types of animals in the ocean that swim by, will go into the anemone, and then there's toxins in those little tentacles that kill the fish and consume the fish. But the anemone doesn't swim. It has to lure them in there. So it does so with those tentacles. Fish are curious. They look to feed in there, and the tentacles grab it. Now, animals like the clownfish have an immunity to those toxins and hence use the anemone as a safe space where it can hide in there, not be affected by the toxins, and not be eaten by other fish that would be affected by the toxins. You have alleged before, quite controversially, that the eagle is just a buzzard with a good... vulture with a good PR agent. A good PR agent, yes, a vulture with a good PR agent. Let's play this video of an eagle and see if you want to retract your statement, because this eagle is going into the water with its claws and very efficiently grabbing a fish, and that's fairly amazing right there. Those are hard to catch. They're not easy to catch, and I'm not to say that the eagle is not a good hunter when it needs to be. However, it will always take the easy way out.
Yeah, a little small.
It will always take the easy way out in the sense that it would rather get a fish that's dead on the shore. It would rather steal the fish from another bird, or it'd rather find itself at a dump site where it could eat trash. The most eagles I've ever seen in my life were in Alaska on a dump site where there were 200 plus eagles eating trash off of the dump.
Ron, you know what that looks like to me? America, Jack. A nice bald eagle flying through the sky, getting a fish that I thought was going to be a lot bigger when he pulled it out, by the way. I was expecting like a salmon, like the grizzly bears get in the wild.
Well, what is the heaviest fish that a bird of prey can get out of the water? What is the greatest thing that you've seen in that regard?
I mean, I've seen eagles and ospreys get fish, 3-4 pounds out of the water, and that's a lot when you consider the bird itself only weighs maybe 7 or 8 pounds. Let's study some manatees here with Ron McGill, shall we? I'd like to see some moments here between manatees. They are, we've got a ton of them here in South Florida. What's happening here, Ron? What's happening here, this is probably a crystal river or one of those places that has a natural spring that provides warm water during the cold streaks. When we have our cold fronts come through Florida, these manatees instinctively go to these springs. They'll go to places like FP&L, some of the nuclear plants that send out the warm water. They all go to get the warm water because they're very susceptible to cold. Cold can stun them, can kill them, in fact. So during cold streaks, you will see these manatees literally congregate, sometimes in the hundreds. I know at Crystal River, I was there once when there was over 400 manatees all congregated in this one river where all this warm water is coming out, and that's what they're there for. They're there to get the warm water that they need to survive.
Ron, in hot days, are they looking for cold water? And if so, there's been times where people that I've seen, not that I have done it myself, people that I've seen have given them water out of la manguera on their face to like because they're in this hot canal in the Keys or whatever, and it's like, here's a little
They
bit
love
of fresh
the
water for you.
hoses. They love the water from the hoses.
They love the hoses, but they're not loving the hoses to cool them off. They're loving the hoses for the fresh water to drink. That's what
is this a romantic moment here between manatees? What is happening here?
I am not sure what's happening there. No, it's not necessarily a romantic moment. It's certainly a meeting moment, kind of, recognizing each other, trying to figure out who each other is, but it's not a romantic moment. Romantic gets a little bit more involved.
Let's play a sound here for Ron and have him guess the animal.
That's it? That's what you're giving me?
Yeah. What do you think that animal looks like? Just keep playing it for me.
That's not long enough to tell me anything. Almost sounds like a dog barking, but I couldn't tell you what that is. You could.
If you had to take a guess that wasn't a dog, go ahead and go through the animal kingdom and see what it is that you find. Just the size of the animal.
Could be a toad. It could be.
Could be.
I have no idea what that. It sounds like like I said, some type of toad or something like that. It could be. It could be breeding leopards.
That is Greg Toady. That is the stomach of Greg Toady after he has not eaten for 16 hours and has just been having a lot of coffee. It's how a show ended the other day. It was his stomach.
I just threw up a little in my mouth. That's disgusting. God, that's disgusting.
Right? It's strange that he would not eat anything for 16 hours and then have 2 thermoses full of coffee and be surprised when his stomach starts making those sounds.
Yeah, what's strange is that it's recorded. That's what's strange.
Ron, you know what's strange that is recorded that people are really just taking liberties with, and I don't really like it? Have you heard about this new dinosaur show with Morgan Freeman? I think Spielberg has touched it a little bit.
I heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm done with is these people, anybody in the scientific community, thinking they know what happened 265 million years ago. Oh, this is how they would eat. This is how they walked. The T-Rex actually didn't sound like that. It sounded more like a frog. Like, you people have no idea what you're talking about. Everything dinosaur related is absolute hogwash. Ron McGill. Thank you, Mike. 6,000 actually.
Tony, I'm with you on most of that. But, there are some bases on how they can figure out how a dinosaur may have walked just by the skeletal structure and how they can compare it to skeletal structures of today's animals. But when you come to color, when you come to sounds, no, I'm with you. That's all strictly guessing. They're pulling it out of their butt.
It was like, oh, this is the mating dance. It's like, you have 7 bones of the animal. How the frick do you know?
Yeah. I'm with you, Tony. I'm with you. But, people are interested in that kind of stuff, so they'll keep throwing it out there so they keep getting the clicks, buddy.
I am hopeful that Ron will be around here even more and that we will be doing even more with him in retirement. He's not going anywhere as it relates to this show and the love that he has for his fans and the love they have for him. A reminder, if you want to celebrate a retiring Ron McGill, his endowment, the charity is supported by our fans and his fans through this show more than it is anywhere else, and he is now going to be running that endowment full time, so he's going to be concentrating on
Look at that. Damn, that's a long time ago.
Using your money to buy himself a Cadillac and fancier clothes and go to New York vacations with his wife. He laughs in your face at your charity because he is a shameless criminal. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate your time. Congratulations on your retirement. It's been earned. You deserve to rest a little bit and concentrate only on the things that you love the most.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
What did you think of Bam's 83 last night, Ron?
I thought they were freaking phenomenal. I thought it was fantastic. And, anybody who's trying to downplay that should be shot. This is a wonderful task in the sense that, nobody since Wilt has done that. He beat Kobe. Come on, it's a huge thing. And
should be shot.
He couldn't be more right about this.
Ron, anyone who so wait a minute. So you would have no problem. You would defend me and you would come to court if I just wandered around Miami right now and anyone who was criticizing them, I just shot them.
With a water pistol.
See you later, Ron. Good talking to you. Can I get that Greg Cody video again as he's bothered by his neighbors? Because he's not filming this himself. He's picked a terrible, terrible week to leave, okay? The Dolphins have a new quarterback. Bam scores 83. Max Crosby's trade is rescinded. The Italians beat the Americans because the American manager didn't know that it was a game that would have possibly cost them elimination. And here's Greg Cody commenting from Barbados.
Okay, so I'm on vacation in the Caribbean, and all kind of stuff keeps happening in South Florida sports. Stop it. I'm on a beach in Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and I find out that the canned tuna, and signed Malik Willis, the Dolphins have. And now we're docking in Barbados, rum capital of the world. We'll be doing some rum later today on a beautiful rum tour. There's a rival cruise ship in the background. Anyway, now we're pulling into Barbados, and all anybody's talking about is Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. Somebody told me Bam scored 83. I'm like, in a week, in 3 or 4 games, that's pretty good. 83 points in one game. Hey.
Morning. You're probably going to see the power.
Oh, okay.
Probably going to see.
Oh, okay.
All right, no, so I.
No, that's okay. Those are our friends from the suite next door. Let's say, oh yeah.
After 3-4 games,
South Florida sports, quit doing things that are newsworthy while I'm on vacation. Have a little respect. Bam Adebayo, of all people, scored 83 points, more than Michael Jordan ever did, more than LeBron James. It's just insane. Anyway. I'll be drinking some rum today while things keep happening in South Florida sports.
Put it on the poll, please. Are the balconies on cruise ships private enough? And also, as it relates to him rumming and his stomach rumbling, he's going to have so much rum today that his stomach is going to be making sounds like that. And Zaslow, I'm not making this up when I say my late brother's very first art exhibit, Greg Cody, an adult, a responsible adult, didn't know that you have to have the beer after the liquor. He had a bunch of wine after the beer. And at my brother's very first art exhibit, he knocked a painting off the wall because he had had so much to drink. And he's now headed toward a bunch of rum. And what, Tony?
I mean, come on. We talked to Ron. He's deserved this beautiful retirement and, embezzling our money and all that stuff, right? Correct. Greg Cody deserves a little bit of run on, in Tortuga or wherever he was.
It's Barbados. It's not Tortuga.
The other one, tortellini or whatever he was.
That's the Spanish word for turtle, and tortellini is a pasta.
If you play the other one from yesterday, I don't even know what he was saying.
He's in the United States of Tortorella.
Why is the other ship a rival?
Oh, any ship that's a competing cruise line would be the rival to the business. It's a cutthroat industry. How are you guys just bypassing the fact that one of my friends at my brother's art exhibit, these are things that are supposed to be at least a little formal, an adult couldn't drink correctly enough to not knock one of the paintings off of the wall because he didn't bump into it, like graze against it with his shoulder. He was over there fiddle-faddling around and knocked the painting off. Like,
fiddle-faddling?
It felt good when we said it. I also said manatees at one point.
Mike, explain your feelings about the puppet. The puppet is great, and I love Tony's use of the puppet today.
Pants up.
And the puppet does indeed look like me, although we have to do something about how gray that beard is. We have to darken some of it. That hair came in gray and now has been darkened. What are your feelings in general about the puppet?
My feelings have been made known. Not the puppet guy. Not at all a puppet guy here. Although Tony is doing a pretty good job with it in other rooms.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you taking control of the puppet because I eventually want that puppet to be the inner monologue's inner monologue. I want it to react to what it is that Mike does as the inner monologue and argue with the inner monologue. From the other things that happened yesterday, okay, what is the proper amount of attention for me to give the United States losing to Italy and the manager not knowing what the rules are?
Well, it depends a little bit on what happens tonight. Like, depending on what happens
Mexico
tonight.
is favored to beat the U.S.
Favored to beat Italy, but as long as they score more than 5 runs, they'll be good. But, I mean, scoring runs against Italy, like... It seemed like the U.S. struggled with that for a long stretch there. Right now, the U.S. is plus 275 to not advance the last time I checked the line. I mean, I may have PTSD, but in international competition, when the United States needs Mexico to help them out, they don't tend to do that.
It's crazy because they seem to really think they clinched the night before. Like DeRosa was talking before the game, like, oh, there's some guys who were dragging. They stayed up late. He went on one of the MLB Network shows and was talking about how, you know, they were going to try to get some other guys playing time.
Well, the manager saying they've clinched is a dead giveaway.
Yeah, and by the way, in the post-game press conference, Jeremy, he admitted that he got the calculations wrong.
It was
That's his direct quote.
He said he misspoke and then said he got the calculations wrong and then said he misspoke again.
Because those are two very different things.
Those are two
Misspeaking
totally
and-
different
Yeah.
things. It seems as though they had no idea what the scenario was for them. And now they're in a position where if Mexico wins the game today and scores 4 or fewer runs, the United States will not advance, and it will be Mexico and Italy.
In our national pastime, I am looking at Mark DeRosa here, and let's hear real quick what it is that he had to say to explain himself.
Yeah, I misspoke. I was on hot stove with a couple buddies today and completely misread the calculations. We knew that Mexico was going to play Italy and then running all the numbers with if we lost tonight with the runs allowed and runs scored and outs. So I just misspoke.
I don't believe him at all. Yeah. I don't even understand what he's saying there. He's saying two different things. Yeah. The way that they approached the game from their lineup to like what they were doing in the game, the lack of urgency was crazy.
Is that true? Like their lineup would portray a
That's
team
what
that
he
thinks they
said. He
clinched?
said he was going to play people he wouldn't normally play.
Knowing where I am with the sport of baseball right now, do you think it's a huge red flag if I know the situation better than the manager of the team?
I'm going to go a step further on this, okay? If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that I very infrequently fire people. I very infrequently make the consequences so strong on mistakes that the shame isn't enough as a punishment. This is a fireable offense. I'm not even kidding you. This kind of mistake on the national stage from Mark DeRosa feels to me in the realm, Tony, of what it is I've said that Eric Spoelstra will regret that timeout that he didn't have that cost them.
I thought you were going to fire him again like you did last week.
Against the Pistons, I believe that that will haunt Eric Spoelstra for the rest of his life. I believe it's something that creeps into his sleep and affects it. The fact that at the end of a game he called a timeout he did not have and cost his team a game against the Pistons. And this is worse. This is worse. Like, I'm trying to think in the hypothetical. Go ahead. If we want to have another GOAT conversation, most egregious mistake ever made by someone in charge in sports, like this by itself, not knowing that you're playing in a game that might get you eliminated because you think you've already advanced to the next round, is an incompetence so extreme and beyond my understanding. Like, I really don't get, like he's sitting here saying, I misspoke about the numbers like they're so complicated. It's math. It's addition. It's count up the runs. It's not some formula that he's doing that requires computer coding.
He said about outs, too. Like, is outs part of the metrics? Like, we didn't have enough outs this game. Like, what?
The only one that I could think of to compare would be J.R. Smith in the finals, thinking that they were ahead.
No, but I'm talking about a leader. A leader's job is to lead.
Okay.
A player can make – that's a great one, obviously, for getting the score. But now imagine a coach doesn't know what the score is.
Yeah, just one of those run-of-the-mill World Baseball Classics with Team USA. We just do this ho-hum every day. We so much so that we don't know the situation. It's like, do you have a coaches meeting? Yeah. Do you talk about the tournament before?
So this is Grady Little not taking out Pedro Martinez.
This is so much worse than that.
This is so much worse.
Trusting Pedro Martinez, I can get behind.
That seems easy.
Well, they almost went to Clayton Kershaw in the 8th inning. He's there basically as an honorary member.
He's a vibes guy.
He's a coach. He's retired. He's not supposed to be there.
They were going to put her in a vibes guy?
It was late in the game. It was the 8th inning, and they're warming up Clayton Kershaw, and everyone watching is like, is this for real?
Jeremy,
do they not know what's going on?
I had to Google if my brain was wrong. Yeah. Because I'm like, surely I must be wrong here. Because I'm taking this way more seriously than the manager.
You know about that wrong brain?
So this is Pete Carroll going pass instead of rush with Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl.
You're not good at this game.
You're just rattling off bad decisions.
Those are just individual mistakes.
I can defend all of those. When you mentioned,
really, you can defend that one.
I can defend. Look, it wouldn't be a good defense. It can be defended. Like you're trying to surprise them with a pass, even though you have Marshawn Lynch. How do you defend this?
Roy Bellamy, bad at this game.
You mentioned Kershaw. Kershaw famously did not know that the Dodgers had won the World Series. Like he was confused at the end of that game, he was confused. Game 7, he did not know that they had won. He thought that, can you get me the details on this, what he thought versus what it is that happened? Because I'm saying that with Kershaw, he's old enough that that's just simple senility. That is cognitive decline. He is that old. He was going to be brought in the game. Kershaw was so spent by the end of last season, he might as well have been the statue that they're going to erect for him.
He was warming up in the bullpen, and he thought that a run had scored on a double play earlier in the inning. So as a result, he's warming up. The game ends, and he's still warming up because he has no idea that they just won the World Series.
And they almost they were going to put him in the game last night. I'm telling you that I'm having a hard time. Roy is terrible at this game, but I'm not any better at it in that off the top of my head, and please just look this up. I'm sure there are many lists everywhere. Most boneheaded decisions made by someone in sports leadership all time. Because this won't be remembered that way because people don't care about this the way that they care about their own teams. But if this was something that happened, I don't know, in the playoffs, I don't even know how it is you arrive at the manager not knowing what the stakes of a game are when he's playing it. Like it is the equivalent of somebody playing in a playoff game and thinking it's a regular season game. Like not a manager not understanding that he's in the playoffs.
It's like chasing the regular season. You're in the wild card. You're in that last little play-in game, and you're like, no, I think we're good. And everybody's like, whoa, wait, we got one more game. We got to play it.
It would be the 9 seed in the play-in game in the NBA, in the play-in going, but if we lose this one, we play again, right?
It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife.
A fly in your Chardonnay? I don't think it's that, Jeremy, because a 9 seed isn't likely to win it all.
Jeremy can tell you. You can get close.
An 8 seed got there.
A 9 seed isn't the Americans overall. So I misspoke earlier, and I said that Mexico was favored against America when Mexico is favored against Italy.
We just got the calculations wrong.
I misspoke. Can you guys tell me whether or not the Americans are or were favored at the start of this tournament? Was it the Dominican?
Yes, they were. No, the Americans were not even money.
It was USA,
-105.
DR, Japan, and then Venezuela. And it's remained that case until now.
Well, the other thing that's interesting about this is that this doesn't get to be the level of historic boneheaded until the next game is played. Because if they actually get eliminated for this, do you retroactively get insanely mad in a historical stain for Mark DeRosa because you're going to associate his name with this particular mistake instead of his major league careers as? Where and how does this stick?
I don't know that people care enough. I think the people around Team USA are going to know and remember. Do I think the average baseball fan is like, oh, that dummy Mark DeRosa? I don't think so.
How pumped was he to see Bam get 83 last night? Because you swap all the first take topics about Bam with Mark DeRosa.
Mark DeRosa is sitting there in his hotel room. Yeah, Raiders. Way to go, Raiders. Way to do that to us.
And locally, the Wizards or the Lizards are just as pumped about the Max Crosby development. Oh, yeah. It's just a whole bunch of people holding up meat shields.
So next play on what it is that's going to happen here with Crosby, because, Zaz, I think a lot of people, enjoy NFL free agency, and I don't think in all of the transactions and movement that there's been over the last 10 days that there was anything bigger than Max Crosby being traded to the Ravens. Max Crosby, 28 years old, in his prime, a very good pass rusher, and the Ravens doing something they never do, which is trading future capital for today. It's just not the way they've ever run their organization philosophically, but they thought this pass rusher was so important, and they thought their defense was so bad last year that they needed to get the MVP of the league, or someone who's been the MVP of the league, help immediately.
They may also feel like their clock's kind of ticking.
Well, because of that, because of wherever it is that, look, the Ravens are behaving the way the Rams are with Stafford, because they're like, we've got to win now, and we think we're a piece away. So they pivot off of Max Crosby, who Jerry Jones was also interested in, and now they go to Trey Hendrickson, which was the best available other option. You have to pay him, and it doesn't cost you. Paying him is different than costing you the kind of draft capital that Max Crosby was going to cost you. So it's just salary cap as opposed to future that you're trading for him. But the mechanics of what just happened. Why are the Ravens more aggressively in on pass rusher than anyone else in the sport when Jerry Jones also wants a pass rusher? How is Jerry Jones finishing second on both of these guys? Because I think now Max Crosby is indeed damaged goods, right? You can have happen to you with Max Crosby what just happened to the Packers with Micah Parsons. It's a dangerous game. You're trading for your last piece, and then your last piece gets injured, and you're bleeped.
Yeah, I wish I could catch up to the news cycle on this, because Adam Schefter's doing a lot of reporting on this around the league. The Ravens' reputation has taken a hit. This is considered a Bush League move. I know these tests, there isn't a standardized physical across the NFL.
No, it's just based on a team's satisfaction.
Yeah, it's a subjective thing, and there are a lot of teams that are taking issue with this right now.
And you don't think that the Ravens and an NFL franchise have a million ways to go find further medical details on knees, on elbows, on ankles, whatever it is, right? And you have two firsts that are going out the door, and they're like, man, Trey Hendrickson, the numbers are probably about the same. We don't have to really do that. Let's rescind the trade and go sign him instead of giving away future assets. Bush League.
Zaz, one of the things that plays into this being considered as Bush League is they made that trade a few days ago. The NFL free agency cycle just started, and the Raiders
That's the most interesting part.
The Raiders had a bunch of money to spend.
That's the most interesting part, is all these guys that the Raiders signed, I don't think they could sign them anymore.
Well, here's one of the things that's happened that I don't think people pay attention to because of the clerical stuff and the places where honor in business is supposed to reside. This is the danger of doing stuff before the NFL calendar year has begun. The only way that these things actually become official transactions is when both teams submit all paperwork to the league offices. You can get out of anything before that. It's just that nobody does that. And to your point about doctors, the doctor can concoct any reason to make someone fail a physical. He's coming off a knee surgery. He can't play football right now. He's going to fail. At this point, I would take a test at a doctor's office that would make my body more functional for football than Max Crosby's body, and a doctor can say that. What the Raiders did is just accuse the Ravens of dishonor, but they win. They win because now they don't give up the draft picks. They get the same kind of player, and all they had to do was give up money for it.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is built for March. The tournament is unpredictable, but the rewards are guaranteed, and DraftKings is delivering some of the most generous rewards on the market. New to DraftKings? Bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.